host, Chris Waters, and joining me is Raphael Van Lierop from Relic Entertainment, and we're here to talk about a franchise many of you will know and love very well, Warhammer 40k. Raphael, thank you for joining us on stage.
Thanks for having us. We're really excited to be here to talk about Space Marine.
Yeah, we are super psyched too. Now, Relic has done great work with the Warhammer 40k franchise before. You've had great success.
Yeah, we've had about a 7 or 8 year collaboration with Games Workshop now, creating our Dawn of War series of real-time strategy games at Relic, and we've had a lot of success with those. It's been a really big franchise for THQ and for Relic, and now the Space Marine is our whole fresh new take on Warhammer 40,000. This is us taking that IP and delivering it to people in an action blockbuster kind of wrapper, and it's the biggest kind of production of Warhammer 40,000 game ever made. It's like over-the-top blockbuster action. It's super exciting to be here to talk about it because the reception on the floor has been amazing. We've got hands-on playable content right now at the booth at the THQ area.
So if folks are here, they can make their way over to that booth to check it out. But for you folks at home, we got a demo. We're going to see this action in action, for lack of a better word.
That's right, yeah.
So Space Marine, a familiar term in the games industry to say the least, but Warhammer 40k Space Marines are not your dyed-in-the-wool average Space Marine.
That's right. Yeah, for us, in the Warhammer 40,000 IP, the Space Marine is something very specific. It's not just another science fiction warrior. They're kind of like a warrior monk. They're a superhuman soldier encased in this bright, adorned, powerful armor with devastating weapons. They're kind of, they're either training for fighting or they're actually fighting. They're really the last line of defense that humanity has against being wiped out by this immense alien horde. So
that sounds like the kind of guy I want to play as in a video game.
Yeah, I mean, we really believe in the character so much that we wanted to wrap an entire experience around just that character, and it's been really exciting for us to kind of be able to look at the 40k IP from a different point of view. So we're not sort of 100 feet away from the RTS camera anymore. We're putting you right in the sort of the boots of that character and let you experience what it feels like to be that powerful fighter.
Yeah, no more godlike remove.
That's right.
You're right in there.
You're in the heart of the action now, where it's dangerous and fun.
Excellent. And so we're seeing a slow motion, the heart of the action. We're going to hop into, give us a little bit of a preview of what we're going to hop into as we dive right in.
Sure, yeah, we have 2 pieces of playable content right now at E3. We have a section with Orc gameplay and a section with Chaos gameplay, just so people can experience sort of how the combat feels different in the game.
Okay.
What we're going to play right now is from about sort of 2 hours into the single player campaign. And the top level story for Space Marine is a Forge world called Graia has just been invaded by a 1 million-strong army of orcs, and they want to get their hands on the Titan war machines, which are one of the most powerful war machines that humanity has at their disposal. If the orcs get their hands on it, it's really serious business. So you've been sent to kind of hold the line and take back as many strategic positions as you can. And in this piece of content here, you've just managed to fight your way to the outskirts of the Titan factory. The orcs are trying to bust their way in. And you're about to find out about some of the deeper, darker conspiracy that's going on the planet with the Inquisition right now.
So there's more than just humanity is in grave peril, fight to save the day.
That's right. You arrive and, as I said, to deal with this orc invasion, and very quickly you get drawn into a much deeper, darker storyline that kind of becomes a little bit of a Saving Private Ryan meets Heart of Darkness story, where you're going deeper and deeper into the planet, into the city, the Imperial City. You're trying to understand what's going on with this Inquisitor character. He's been involved with some secret research on the planet that can fall into enemy hands. And you get drawn into this darker mystery that has a real specific sort of tie to your character, Captain Titus, who is our franchise hero. He's an Ultra Wings captain, which means he's got like 200 years of experience fighting. He's a quintessential badass, voiced by Mark Strong. So we've created an entire cast of characters for Space Marine that we feel this story is an action blockbuster experience that would be right at home with any kind of Hollywood movie.
Fantastic, and I love this creepy little floating skull fella.
Yeah, the Servo Skull. So the Servo Skull's just delivered the distress call from the Inquisitor, and so that's giving you your information that you need to know what to do to proceed. And now you're going to fight your way to the base of the Titan factory gates and try and prevent the orcs from being able to break in. They've managed to get a hold of this cannon on the end of the crane, and they're obviously up to no good. So you're going to go in there and try and stop them.
Sounds like a good goal. Now, folks, remember, because we are live, we are taking your questions live. Tweet them to us at GameSpot, and also use the little Ask Us a Question button on the page next to the video player to send us a question and ask these folks here about Space Marine.
So one of the things that you get to see here that's a great example of the epic environments in Warhammer 40,000 is this really distinct kind of Gothic-styled architecture that we express in our single-player campaign for all the variety of environments that we have. James is about to head into a little bit of a fight here, and you see Space Marine's all about getting right into the heart of action. So you open that with a combat charge, we call it affectionately the bull rush. You're basically ran in the middle of the enemy horde there, knocked a bunch of guys around, and immediately started to lay waste to them with his chain sword.
Yeah,
so that's a nasty execution move that you can do to regenerate health when you get low. You got your ultimate allies there helping out with the fight.
Just mopping them up with the gun.
And you see, one of the things that's amazing about Space Marine is that we have this seamless blend of shooting and ranged combat. We give you a whole bunch of different tools to play with, not just just the shooting weapons or not just the melee weapons, but really the combat becomes an experience where we're combining those two things completely seamlessly. And you can see as James is playing that he's got this big tool set of combat actions that he can take as he goes into every encounter. It's a very responsive combat. He has an enormous amount of devastating weaponry at his disposal. He's got all kinds of combat actions that he can deploy, like you saw the execution move that he did there, which is great for when you're low on health. And we created that very deliberately in Space Marine. What we didn't want is for players to end up in a situation where when their health is low, they want to kind of run away and hide until it regenerates.
Right.
So what we do
you want them to crank it up.
That's right. We would say, when you're low on health, what's a Space Marine do? Well, a Space Marine doesn't run away and hide. A Space Marine runs into battle and gets even more aggressive. So you go in there and you knock guys around, you pick them up and do some kind of devastating, like sink kill move where you execute them in a very bloody way and harvest health that way. Obviously, fodder guys, you can do that immediately. Guys that are a little bit tougher, you'll have to get them into that state, whether it's through stunning them or whatever.
Now, in terms of your abilities, we've got a question coming in from Jose Almendares, wondering about customization. We're seeing a variety of guns, but is there any ways that you customize your character throughout this campaign?
In the single-player game, you play Captain Titus of the Ultramarines, and we've made a very specific character, and a captain has a very specific type of armor with the ornaments and ornamentation and whatnot. So that's the character that you play, and the weaponry that we're giving you is unlocked in a linear fashion over the course of the game.
Okay.
And now you just see that we've died.
It's hard out there for a Space Marine.
It's a tough gig, for a Space Marine, but you can see that it's a for real demo, right? I mean, there's a challenge there. It's threatening. The combat is if you're not paying attention, you will die, right? Mm-hmm. Individually, the orcs are not threatening, but as a group, they are dangerous, and you kind of always have to have an awareness of the battlefield. What you saw there was James was fighting the melee knob, which is one of the bigger orc units, and you got to be really careful because those guys can mess you up. So we're gonna jump back in here.
They are equally eager to get into melee combat.
They are. They just run in there and want to mess around. We're having some.
And wouldn't you know it, in the madness of E3, we are having some battery issues, folks, with our wireless controllers. Apologies to you guys, but we still have a lot of questions coming in from the, a lot of people asking about the upgrades. Talk a little bit about some more of the weapons, because Warhammer Universe known for that sort of ornate, gothic, industrial vibe.
Absolutely.
That makes for some very cool weaponry.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about making a video game like this in the Warhammer 40,000 setting is there's really no shortage of crazy weaponry that we can use. And so what we did was we identified all the gameplay rules that we required the weapons to have, and then we kind of cherry picked from the arsenal that was available to us. And so you start with sort of the quintessential Space Marine weaponry, the chainsword and the bolt pistol and the bolter, and then you can collect as you go through the game. You unlock more and more devastating weaponry. So we've got everything from like the storm bolter, which is literally like almost like two bolters strapped together. That's how devastating it is.
Yes.
We've got the plasma guns, which is great against armored units. You saw a little clip there with James using Vengeance launcher, which is our version of a grenade launcher, where you can leave
that big area.
That's right,
explosion.
an area of effect, and you can land like up to 5 of those in the world at any given time, so you can sort of set traps and things for enemies that way. So we've got, it's pretty awesome. We've got the Stalker pattern bolter, which is like our combat rifle. We've got a las cannon, which is our sniper rifle. So we've got about, I think, 15 different weapons. We have a category called exotics, which are so overpowered that we only give them to you at specific places in the game and kind of build like a set piece encounter around them.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we've got like the heavy bolter, plasma cannon, all these crazy over-the-top weapons that you use till they're done, and then you kind of cast them away.
Just lay waste.
Yeah, it's just like insane, the amount of devastation.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
We have a question coming in from Sam Wood in Liverpool.
Sure.
Who wants to know what Space Marine offering beyond the campaign? Are we talking multiplayer modes, anything?
We have
along those
multiplayer.
lines?
Yeah, I guess we're talking more about it after E3, like later this month. But
okay.
we'll be talking about our multiplayer and our co-op games. So we've got lots more than just single player.
Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to hearing more about those, as I'm sure will our users. Again, sorry for hanging you out to dry there. You do battle against that tough guy up on the box. He's like hammering you, and then so decide to see how much punishment a Space Marine can really take.
Well, you're just seeing it right now.
All right, folks. Now keep in mind we are taking questions. We've got one here from Ben Lau, who is apparently a fan of the series, asking about Terminator armor.
That question comes up a lot, yeah. As I said, you play Captain Titus of the Space Marine, the Ultramarines. You've got a very specific set of armor on you. Later this month, when we get to talk more about some of the other parts of the game, we'll get into more detail about some of the other armor customization that's available.
Now, how about a question coming in from the Netherlands about Titans?
Titans, yeah.
Are we going to get near any of those in this
Well,
game?
as I said, the story setup is really for you to get to the planet to protect the Titans and make sure they don't fall into enemy hands. And you can imagine if we're showing you a Titan, we're not going to just let you,
you don't just put it there.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't put it there and not let someone, interact with it in some way. So, we'll leave it at that.
That is the kind of answer folks like to hear. Barring being able to show awesome Titan gameplay. Excellent. Now, there's a very diverse unit set in Dawn of War games. Not just the Marines, but much bigger characters.
Yeah.
Any sort of vehicles in the campaign? Any sort of larger scale attacks?
I mean, we have several of the iconic 40k vehicles in the game. We have some big action set piece moments that incorporate those vehicles. But really, it's what we're showing in Space Marine is, as I said, it's more, there's a sort of a global battle that's going on, and you have a very specific mission within that battle. So the battle rages around you while you go in, and you have this very specific, like I said, sort of almost like a Saving Private Ryan meets Heart of Darkness type issue.
Sure, you're on a mission.
You're on a
stuff is happening around you, but you're
That's
driven.
right. And you've landed on the planet with about 30 other Ultramarines, which in the fiction is an acceptable response to like a million orcs, right? To throw 30 of these guys down there. So and meanwhile, as you're carrying through your mission, they're busy doing their own stuff. But I mean, it's really all about you, Captain Titus. You've got Sergeant Sidonis, your trusted your trusted sergeant, and the rookie Leandros. And really, the story of Space Marine, most of the story revolves around the interplay between these three Ultramarines characters, and then there's other characters that you meet along the way. Like I mentioned, the Inquisitor. There's Lieutenant Mira, who is an Imperial Guard commander who you encounter along the way, and she's got her story with survivors, Imperial Guard survivors on the planet that you weren't expecting to be there. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with them.
Stuff that sort of intersects your path and enriches the story.
Yeah, so as you're going through the world, you're encountering these other characters, and you're learning more about what's actually been going on the planet.
Well, Raphael, thank you so much for bringing this by and showing it off. Our folks are really excited. The chat is just filling up with questions. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap it up here, but tell us when people are going to be able to get their hands on Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
You're not going to have to wait that long. It's coming out September 6th this year on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC.
Excellent, Raphael. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Take care.
Now, folks, we're heading out to see what Capcom has to offer here at E3 2011.